All right. So I'm going to ask some of the simpler questions. What inspired you to get involved with the troops?
Well, since my show started in 2002, and I started to do like CDs and DVDs, and from the beginning, I received a lot of mail from troops that were deployed and in the States and stuff, and I would always send them stuff. I'd send them pictures, or I'd send them videos of the show or DVDs of my stand-up, and they've always been very supportive to me. So in about 2005, I had a book that came out, and I went to Walter Reed and spent a lot of time with the people that were injured, and it just became. It's always been a thing for me my whole life. Knowing people who, when we all have family members who went back then in Vietnam and things. So I always had a respect for military and even police. But since that time, and I think even the special in 2009 in San Antonio, I dedicated to the soldiers of the hospital there. So, and I visited the hospital before the HBO special. So it's always been something that I've wanted to do. I think schedule-wise, and from like 5 to 10, didn't allow me to leave the country to go and perform. So this was a perfect time. I think they let me know a long time ago, and it was stuff with the George Cheetah staff, kind of different things, but it never really worked out in the timing of the year. But this one did, and Armed Forces Entertainment has been amazing to us with the accommodations and with the people involved, and getting us to where we need to go with enough time to rest and become familiarized with where we're going to work, and the stage and the sound has been first class. So it's something that Brian and I, who's with me, have talked about doing more, and in more different. Go to Kuwait. I'd like to go to Kuwait. Or I'd like to go where we were talking about this morning, where there's only maybe 200 soldiers there, or troops there, so to go where they would not expect you to go. So it's in their corner to wherever they feel like I could entertain. I'd go in a minute. So.
Okay. So what has your stay in Germany been like?
Well, it's been a tale of 2 different days and nights. The shows have been amazing, really, the energy of the troops and everything. And the after time has been pretty wild, and there's a camaraderie and an energy that is very exciting to be around. And then in the morning, it's been, drinking 7-Up and trying to gather yourself. Thank God I wear my hair messy already, so it doesn't really look like I've had that rough a night. But today was a rough, today was a 5.5-hour bus ride here. So we slept in those bunks, and I only hit my head 10 times, thinking I was, just a regular room. Bink! So, but it's been great. Everything about it has been great. I can't believe that, we're almost done. We have just 2 more shows, and then we're gonna go to Amsterdam and relax.
Now, from what I've heard them talking about, you guys would actually go out to like the local pubs after your shows.
Oh, they've been talking about that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. We would go to the local pubs after the show, a couple of restaurants, and toast different people, and they'd buy you shots, and the shots are only a quarter. So I'm already cleaning the room. So they've been great. I mean, they've been great. Reading and the Colonel at what was the first one? Ramstein? No,
Ramstein.
Spengalm.
Spengalm.
Yeah, Wing Commander McFall.
Wing Commander McFall. We went out after the show, and then we went at it pretty hard. And then he says, the other guy, this guy, Luke, what's the guy's name?
George Hamilton.
George Hamilton. This guy we call George Hamilton because he never has a wrinkle in any of his clothes at all. Perfect. He said, let's play golf tomorrow. 7 o'clock in the morning. And the wing commander was there and played golf in Crocs, which is very impressive because they have no grip underneath at all. And white socks, and you couldn't tell where his sock ended and his leg started. So we called him Boots, you know, and I think he's got a couple more nicknames since I've gone. Boots, and yeah, you know, there's people that here that, you know, need lotion, but I think you guys have that. I don't know why nobody buys it over there at the Express. You see a lot of things that need moisturization, elbows, you know, knees. All right, next question.
Well, I'm now more curious about like hanging out with like the other troops, the local bars, because it was like an informal meet and greet.
Yes, I mean, I take pictures. Man, that after the show when we were with the Wing Commander, I took pictures with everybody in there, and then took pictures after the show. So, like yesterday, we went to the mall because the show was adult, and we thought we'd give an opportunity for families to come by and take a picture if they wanted. And how many people were there? 500?
Yeah.
500 people, and I stood there for 3 hours, and I took pictures and signed autographs and books and whatever they had. You know, they even got so bad that they were stealing the sleeves from Starbucks and wanted me to sign those.
So how does that feel? I mean, to have such a great reaction from the troops.
You know, it feels great. You know, nobody ever takes an easy road to whatever they aspire to do. You know, there's always ups and downs. And I was talking to Doug, who's with me, that one time this woman said to me, they were managers of Seinfeld, you know, that was with Seinfeld's company, and they said, we can't get anybody to see you, like in TV. Nobody wants to see you. And it was kind of like a low point. I thought, does nobody want to see me? And I just kept working hard. And you know, things happened. And then I met Sandra Bullock in 2000, and she kind of discovered me and gave me an opportunity to, you know, do my television show. And that showed everybody that came up that had seen it, and then movies, you know, there's animation movies and different stuff. And there's a movie right now that's out, Spare Parts, and then we're working on another show and another HBO special. So it feels great because, you know, I grew up, I spent a lot of time by myself, and, you know, I'm an only child and you know, didn't know my parents. And it's, like I always say, bad start, great ending. The rest of the first 25 years were nothing like the last 25 years.
Great. I also heard you got to experience being attacked by dogs.
Oh. I stood in one place, but the guys that I was with put on the suit and ran, and that's hilarious to see them get taken down by especially Doug right here. You know, he did that whole thing. You're a bad dog. Yes, you are. And then he took off running. That dog was like, oh, am I? You're going to go down now. And then the dog grabbed him, and he like bumped his head off the grass. Like I don't think you realize the pull of the strength of those dogs. And then one of probably the craziest things I've ever seen is the dog was running at this guy, and then she gave a command, and he stopped right at the guy's feet and just stood there. I mean, that's impressive. You know, when we used to open our door, the dog would take off, and they go down to the park and get the dog. It'd be 5 blocks away in a minute. So that was fun. Everything that they showed us and laid out for us to see, we shot guns and stuff, and the dogs were great.
Okay. Now, if there's something that you would like to say to the troops, or something that they might not know that you would want them to know.
Well, you can't talk to them all personally, but I would like them to know that I appreciate their service, and I have nothing but a tremendous amount of love and respect for every one of them and for what they do. And I just want to say thank you, because it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to us in the United States that they protect us.
So that's the next part. Thank you so much for that.
That's a nice piece of thing.
I know.